Okay, so we can use that other filled in note page to complete this, but we're looking at angles, parallel lines, and transversals practice. So remember that your transversal is this line that cuts in between those two parallel lines, okay? So let's see, types of angles. Number 1 says name one pair of corresponding angles. So corresponding means that they're going to be on the same side of the transversal, and basically the same measurement. So just random one pair of corresponding angles would be like angle 2 and angle 6. Those are both acute angles. They're on the same side of that transversal, so we can say angle 2 and angle 6. Another side, if we're looking at the other side of the transversal, 3 and 7. Angle 3 and angle 7. So that would be corresponding, the same angle measure on the same side of the transversal, and that means that they have the same measurement. So then I'm going to erase as I go so it's a little bit clearer. And then number 2, name one pair of vertical angles. So vertical is just straight across from each other. So like two angles that are looking at each other where they meet at the vertices. So for example, angle 2 would be vertical from angle 3. So angle 2 and angle 3. So they would also have the same measurement. They're kind of staring at each other. Same thing with angle 5 and angle 8. And I'm not giving all of the examples, I'm just writing down a couple, but 5 and 8, 6 and 7, 1 and 4, those would all work. Then number 3, name one pair of supplementary angles. So that means they add up to be 180. So remember, anytime if you have like a straight line, the two angles that make that straight line, usually an acute and an obtuse angle together, that'll equal 180. So for example, angle 1 and angle 2, they make a straight line and they would add up to be 180. We've got an obtuse and an acute angle. Number 4, list two pairs of alternate, so opposite, interior angles. So interior means inside. So alternate interior angles. If we're looking at the interior angles, we're just looking at what's inside the parallel lines. So think of it as a sandwich. This is your meat and your cheese. This is the inside of your sandwich. So alternate interior. So since alternate means opposite, interior means inside, 5 and 4 would be a good example. Angle 5 and angle 4. They're opposite. They're on opposite sides of the transversal, and they're on the interior. So that would mean angle 3 and angle 6 would also be the same. And then number 5 says list all the exterior angles. Exterior means outside. Outside the parallel lines. So that would be like 7, 8, 2, and 1. That's your bread. That's what's holding the sandwich together. Angle 7, angle 8, angle 1. Angle 1 and angle 2. Things get crazy. Okay, so then if we're talking about measurements, so that's just kind of naming them using some vocabulary. But if we're measuring them, if angle 1 is 120 degrees, what is the measure of angle 2? So we need to see the relationship between angle 1 and angle 2. They wouldn't be the same measurement. This is an obtuse and this is an acute. They're on a straight line, so they add up to be 180. So I would have to say 180 minus that 120 equals 60. Then on number 2, if angle 5 is 112 degrees, what's the measure of angle 2? So again, they have no real relationship. They would be on a straight line. This is obtuse, this is acute, so they need to add up to be 180. So 112 or 180 minus 112 should be 68. Number 3, if angle 7, let me erase that. If angle 7 is 60 degrees, what's the measure of angle 2? Well, 7 and 2, they're alternate exterior angles, so that means they're the same. So 60 degrees. Number 4, if angle 4 is 135 degrees, what's the measure of angle 2? Again, we look at the relationship there. They're just right next to each other. We've got an acute and we've got an obtuse. They're on a straight line, so together they add up to be 180. So 180 minus the 135 gives me 45. So 45 degrees. Number 5. Let me erase some of this stuff. Nope. Number 5, if angle 6 is 53 degrees, then what is the measure of angle 2? So angle 6, 53 degrees. So let's look at that relationship. 6 is in the same location, it's the same angle measure as angle 2. They're both the acute on the same side, so they're corresponding. So it would just be the same, 53 degrees. Okay, this is going to look like your homework. Number 6 does. So if you've got, if angle 1 is 104, what is the measure of all the other angles? So one thing you need to know, if you know one angle measure, you automatically know 3 others. So this is our obtuse angle, the corresponding side. So the same measurement on the same side of the transversal. So if we split that in half, that would be angle 5. So we know that angle 5 would be 104. And then remember, if you have angles vertical from each other. So angle 4 would be 104. Same thing with angle 8, 104. They're also alternate exterior and alternate interior. So just from that, I already know that angle 1 was 104, angle 4 was 104, angle 5 is 104, and angle 8 is 104. So now to get those missing numbers, I know this straight line should add up to be 180, so I'm going to take 180, subtract 104. So it should be 76. So pretty much anywhere you have a blank, that's going to be 76 degrees. That's what's left. Those two angles adding up together equal 180. Okay, then on your homework page, just remember that these on the inside, that's your interior angles. So interior angles. And then these guys on the outside, your bread, what's holding it all together, that's your exterior. It's like the outside of a house. Exterior, the word corresponding, same side of the transversal, which is that splits them in half. Same side, same measure. So you know interior, you know exterior. Alternate means opposite. So opposite sides of that red line. You've got to include that ATL when you're either talking about interior or exterior. Then on number 4, just like on the front page, if we know the measure of angle 4 is 122, if you already know angle 4, then you know 3 other ones. So figure out which ones are going to be the same measure, and then 180 minus 122 to get everything else. Remember, congruent means same size, same shape. So list all the angles congruent to the given example. Number 14 lists all the angles congruent to measure 5, angle 5.